So, what the heck am I talking about when I'm discussing authenticity work or being your authentic self or any of those terms that's used nowadays for discussing living and being your true authentic self? Now, I wanted to touch on this for a couple reasons. First of all, even the term authentic in recent times has become a bit of a buzzword. So I think it's lost a little bit of its integrity because it's been used in ways that aren't actually authentic. So it's kind of ruined the term authentic. So I'm bringing it back. But another reason I want to talk about authenticity and what I'm actually talking about when I'm sharing authenticity work and connecting to your true self and the idea of who you want to be. Why I think it's important is if you haven't done personal development, if you haven't done authenticity work or connected with those types of groups or people or already in those worlds, that terminology gets lost in translation. So I want to talk a little bit about what I actually mean when I'm discussing being your true self, being your authentic self, and what that actually looks like, and some thoughts and key things to ponder and sit with and feel into and go, oh, okay, maybe, just maybe, it'll make a little bit more sense to you after today. So, what are some signs of you not being your authentic self, your true version of you, living your core values and who you want to be, being the real, raw, honest version of yourself? A few signs and symptoms that your body, mind, and spirit will give you is you'll feel sad, you'll feel tired, you'll feel anxiety, you'll feel stressed, you'll feel like something isn't quite right. A way that some clients explain it to me, it's kind of like the puzzle pieces aren't all locking in together because they're not congruent. So I think that is something to contemplate there as well. Like, what are you noticing in yourself? Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling content? And even people that are real and authentic, it's not like they don't go through stuff in their life. It's that they're more aligned, they're more connected with their true self and who they want to be moving forward in their life. So challenges are handled a little bit differently because challenges can be viewed differently depending on your personal outlook. So a few questions I want you to contemplate when you're thinking about who do you want to be? So what or who is the version of yourself that you would like to be? Now, when I ask this question, I want you to look at life from future you. So it's like you're looking through your eyes from the future. So you might not be there yet in any stretch of the imagination, but how would future you, the you that you aspire to be, handle this situation or this relationship or deal with XYZ? How would you like to show up? What's that version of you look like? Another question that you can ask yourself is, what is your ideal life? What do you want from life? Sit with that. Like, honestly ask yourself, like, not just ticking off things that we're supposed to do and want and be and have because we're human. What do you really want for you? Not for your partner or your parents or your family or your friends or whoever else is in your life. Not the expectations. What do you actually want for you and your life? Just a question. And then to bridge those two together, the version of yourself you want to be and the life that you want to have, who do you need to be to marry the two together? Sometimes easier said than done, right? So how does that person show up in the world? Maybe a way to think about it. How does that version of you handle things? So how would the authentic, real you, the person that you want to be, how would that person show up in your romantic relationship? How would they show up with communication, with anyone, not just your romantic relationship? How would your ideal authentic you show up in your sex life and your sexuality? How would they show up in relation to money and finances? How would it show up in education and further personal and professional development? How would they show up with how you look after your health and well-being on every level? How would you show up with travel, family, friends, culture, religion, hobbies, sport, art, music, career, business, all of it? How would you like to show up? Who do you want to be? And maybe you don't know yet, and that's okay. So a lot of coaching that I do, whether it's, one-on-one or whether it's via workshops and other ways that I coach, is through getting really clear on what you stand for. So doing your core values, really identifying what matters to you, because we all actually have our own ethos that we live by, whether we're consciously or unconsciously aware of that. And by uncovering them, we bring them to the surface and we can go, alrighty, this is my blueprint for life. And then you get to be the version of you that you want to be in relation to what's congruent with you. And there's no right or wrong. That's really important to point out. There's absolutely no right or wrong when it comes to being your authentic self, finding your core values, living the life that you want to be. There's only right and wrong for you, because we're all so completely unique and different. So that question that I asked you, first of all, is who is the version of yourself that you want to be? That's actually a question I even ask myself pretty much on a daily basis, because we're always getting to a level and then we want another level. And then we're constantly learning, growing and evolving as human beings. That's a part of what we're here to do. So I'll check in with myself, whether it's in any aspect of my life, and be like, okay, what's the version of myself that I want to be here? And it takes courage, and sometimes it takes vulnerability, and it takes an inner strength sometimes to bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. But that's the fun part of being human, right? Is we get these opportunities to go, okay, this is where I am now, but this isn't the end of my book, my story. I'm just in a chapter. And so think of everything that you're experiencing in your life as beautiful gifts, whether you're going through a challenge, whether you're experiencing anxiety or depression or struggling with anything. And I'm not discounting any of what you can go through there. I've been there myself. I know what it's like. But you also get a choice to look at, what do I want to take away from this? What do I want to learn from this? And who do I want to be from the other side of this? And really get to go into, who do you want to be moving forward? And check in. And constantly check in. And constantly check in. Because, as I said, it takes true courage to be like, okay, what I'm feeling, this sadness, this depression, this anxiety, this tiredness, this apathy for life, this whatever it is that you're experiencing, whatever is blocking you from living your life the way that you really intuitively and heartfelt wise want to, they are your messengers. They are your teachers. They're there to show you, hey, you're not living your own values. You're not stepping into being your full self. I know, right? Tricky, very tricky. But if you can witness instead of dive into it and be like, okay, what is the anxiety teaching us? What is the stress teaching us? Notice that I'm saying the anxiety, the stress, the tiredness, not my or your. Language is a very powerful thing, and I'll do a talk on language another day. But when you say my, it's like you're owning it and you're possessive of it and it's a part of you. It's not. Don't own that shit. Let that go. So we'll talk about language another day. Sidebar. But check in and ask yourself, what is a possible message that this is trying to show me? Where am I upset in my life? Where am I not congruent in my life? Where am I not living the real me like I could be? They're just questions to ponder. As I mentioned, there's no right or wrong. It's just really about checking in. There's so many levels when it comes to authenticity work. So I'm going to share pieces over the coming weeks in relation to different components of it. So those are just a few questions you can start asking yourself today. If you've got questions, because obviously I can go into a lot of depth about this, but let's just keep it at that for now because it might be a bit already. Drop me a question. Let me know how you feel about that. Where are you maybe not as congruent as you would like to be? What are areas that you're working on, and where would you like some help and guidance? Let me know and I'll chat to you all soon.